Welcome to the Space Coast Real Estate Show with your host, Real Estate Robb. Whether you're buying or selling your first home, looking for top dollar cash for your current home, thinking about purchasing your first investment home, or an experienced real estate agent or investor, this is your one stop for all things real estate. Now, here's Robb.
Welcome to the Space Coast Real Estate Show. I am your host, Real Estate Robb. Today's sponsor is RE/MAX Elite. If you're looking to buy, sell, or lease, call RE/MAX Elite at 321-752-5858. Today we have an amazing show for you. I have two amazing guests. We have the mayor of Rockledge, Tom Price, and we have the broker-owner of RE/MAX Elite, Justin Brown. So just to give you a quick overview of the show, this show is going to discuss every aspect of real estate. Whether you're buying your first home, selling your first home, looking to buy an investment property, looking to become a real estate investor, start flipping, any area of real estate, we're going to cover all of the areas and give you the best advice and information so that you don't make costly mistakes that most investors have made in the past, including myself. So I am your host and your real estate advocate. So a little bit about me. My name is Robb Krzyston. I grew up in the area. I'm a single dad of three, and all three of us are Brevard County natives. I proudly served in the United States Marine Corps. After receiving an honorable discharge for medical conditions for my knees, I came back to Brevard County, and in 2006, I got my real estate license. 2008, I started to be a real estate investor, and I've been part of almost every residential transaction. So how I got into real estate is actually kind of a cool story. I was dating a girl at the time, and we were looking for houses to buy. This was in 2004. So the market was booming. It was climbing up, and we couldn't find a house that we liked. So her mom, the house that she grew up in, the house was kind of a wreck, and she sold it to us really cheap. So we actually bought it for $35,000 and financed $85,000. We took the $50,000 and put it into rehabbing the house. Now, I didn't really have much background at that point, so I made about 1,000 trips to Lowe's. I talked to every person in every department and asked, hey, how do you do this? How do you do this? I called all of my friends and just through all of that information, rehabbed my first house. And the crazy thing is I did it while having 2 knee surgeries. I had my ACLs replaced in both knees during this rehab. So it was definitely an adventure. After I was done with the house, we had a friend who was a real estate agent at the time, and she looked at the house and she was like, man, this is your calling. This is what you need to be doing. And I kind of thought about it for a second, and she told me how much money I could make, and I was like, well, hey, that sounds like a pretty good path. So it was at that point that I decided that, hey, I'm going to be a real estate investor. Kind of earlier on, I had the Carlton Sheets course, which, the no money down. I went through the whole course and, I got excited. But, like most real estate investors, I was kind of shy at first, and I was, scared to pull a trigger. And most importantly, as I didn't have any money. So about 2 years went by after I took my real estate class before I actually got my license. So in 2006, when I got my license, it was kind of a crazy time because the market had already started crashing. So that just goes to show you that you can make money in real estate in every single time. There is no time that you can't make money. As long as you understand how the real estate market works and as long as you stay informed as to what's going on, you can always make money. So in 2006, I started doing homework, started doing research. We went to the auctions. I ended up coming in contact with a friend of mine at a Halloween party that I went to high school with. And after high school, we kind of went separate ways. I went to college. I went to the Marine Corps. He went to college and then went to work for NASA. So he had about $90,000 equity in his house. So we said, hey, I was like, why don't we start flipping houses? So we went ahead, got our first house, took a mortgage out on it, used the equity line to fix the house. It was a house in Canaveral Groves that was just gorgeous. 2,500 square feet, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, screened-in pool on an acre with a fireplace. I mean, gorgeous. But there was one problem. It was right next to 95. And at that time, it was such a great deal that we jumped into it without thinking about location. So property did not sell. But in the meantime, we still kept finding deals in Port St. John. So we just kept moving forward. Ended up doing owner financing on the house in Canaveral Groves, which was my first contact with doing a wraparound mortgage. So that was kind of cool. And actually, even to this day, we still have that property. So and the value of that property has increased considerably. So the lady that actually owns it probably has about $50,000 equity in it right now. So that's pretty awesome. So I'd like you to go to Facebook and check out our Facebook page, the Space Coast Real Estate Show, and like the page. And if you have any comments, put them on there. We're going to go ahead and get into our first guest. Our first guest is the mayor of Rockledge. He has an outstanding resume and is just a fantastic guy. His name is Tom Price. Tom, it's great to have you on the show.
Thank you, Rob. Appreciate being here.
So, how are things in Rockledge?
Things in Rockledge are looking up, especially when we're talking about real estate. Of course, we know in 2006, 2007, we had the downturn in the market. By 2008, our value started going down in the city, which, of course, brought our tax value down. And that continued on for several years, and most cities in the United States actually went through the same thing Rockledge went through, with lower revenues. But since 2012, things have stabilized, and we've actually seen increases of 2 to 3% in values since 2012-13. So our revenues are back up, and we're more stabilized, and the market seems to be doing very well right now.
Yeah, we're seeing that across the whole county. The whole county is just really, things are really starting to change. The inventory is kind of dropping down. You see a lot of new investors coming out in the market, and it's really it's great to see things picking up. So,
last year we had our first new development since 2006.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we've got a couple more on the boards right now. So you're starting to see more development going on, which is putting more lots back on the market because we all know there's a shortage out there.
Yeah, especially in Rockledge. You don't really have much land to develop into.
No, but what little we do have left is being developed now. That's true. We're pretty much built out.
But Rockledge is a fantastic city. I mean, it really is. Okay, so we're getting ready to go to break here. So I just I came across this news story that's pretty crazy. It is a millennial makes money sharing her mom's text messages enough to where she can quit her full-time job and land a book deal. That's kind of crazy. I would also like you, again, check out our Facebook page at spacecoastrealestateshow.com. I don't know if the website should forward you to the Facebook page because the website is under construction. Also, check us out on iHeartRadio. If you have the iHeartRadio app, go ahead and download that. We're under the WMMB, and the show's right there. You can check it out anytime. We also have the podcast. I'll be putting the podcast onto the Facebook page as soon as we get it, so you'll be able to check it out at any time. As soon as we can come back from commercial, we'll be talking more with Tom. Tom, it's great to have you here, and we'll be back in just a minute.
Look forward to it.
Learn how Real Estate Rob can help you. Call 321-368-1881.
And we're back. Welcome back to the Space Coast Real Estate Show. I am your host, Real Estate Rob. Check us out on Facebook at Facebook, the Space Coast Real Estate Show. Today we're sitting here with the mayor of Rockledge, Mr. Tom Price. We're finishing up our discussion. So, Tom, what are future plans of Rockledge?
Future plans as far as real estate expansion? Well, there's not really much we can do. We're pretty much at our stages of build-out, so we're looking at more of redevelopment today. We have 3 redevelopment districts in the city: Barton Boulevard, Florida Avenue, and Barnes Boulevard. Barnes Boulevard's being redeveloped as we speak, of course, being 4-laned, and you'll see more development going on in there and more commercial development rather than residential development over the next probably 2 to 5 years. Barton Boulevard, you're going to see a complete renovation of, we put $8 million in our infrastructure about 5 years ago during the downturn, and we weren't expecting a downturn when we committed $8 million funds to that, but it's done pretty good. We still have a couple of big box stores that are empty, that have been empty for many years. When Kmart left, when Dixie pulled out as well. So we still have to fill those big boxes. We've had a lot of interest, and we're out there recruiting. We go to the National Shopping Center Conference every year in Orlando with representation from the city. We're out there recruiting people to come to the city, and we'll basically, if you're a big box store, we'll basically give you the keys to the city. if you want to bring your business in and provide jobs and take up space.
That's awesome.
And we're doing whatever we can do. We're proactive, and we're trying to expand business and trying to expand jobs in our city.
Yeah, have done a great job on Barton. I mean, it just looks amazing. I drove down at my brother-in-law lives at the end of the road, and I mean, it looks gorgeous. I mean, it's really nice. So that should help bring in the big box retails because.
Well, yeah. I don't know if the big box retails will ever come back. I think that's a dying industry, in my opinion. I really do. I think even if we could bring more mom and pop organizations in, I think we do very well with that. The Vieiras of the world do real well with the franchises and the big box stores. And Little Rockledge, we do better with the mom and pops. We can do real well with the mom and pops if we get the right mom and pop in there.
Yeah, I noticed they're building a trampoline. Is it a trampoline place over there on Barnes?
That's a national franchise that they took that space. Now, that was an old Winn-Dixie as well.
Yeah, that's really exciting. My daughter actually knew about it before I did. Yeah. I mean, we live in Port St. John, and she was like, so there's a new trampoline place coming. Yeah. You know, we went to the one out in Orlando, and man, those places are awesome. Not for me because, you know, the bouncing, but I mean, you can like bounce all over the walls. I mean, it's just, whoever came up with that idea was just a genius.
It's a big deal.
That's coming up in Rockledge?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, you get like a 3-hour window that you can go there and play, but after like 30 minutes, the kids are exhausted.
Yep.
Like we went to the one in Orlando and I did the Groupon thing and I was all excited. And like after about 30 minutes, everybody's sitting down like, I'm too tired.
Rebounders. Is that what it is?
No, Rebounders is the one in Orlando, but this one's called a different name.
It's not a franchise.
Yeah. I forget what the name of it is. I saw the sign the other day when I drove by, but I figure it's kind of like the Rebounders, which that's just a genius idea. Whoever came up with that.
My kids had a blast there.
I mean, if kids spent more time at a place like that, then you know there probably wouldn't be any overweight issues with kids because I mean that place is you work hard. So Tom, what was your first real estate investment?
Oh my God!
And how did you get into real estate?
I'll tell you how I got into real estate. I was in the military. Out of high school, I was in the military. When I got out of the military, I went to college in my GI Bill, and I was a police officer for 5 years, worked night shift for 5 years when I was putting myself through college. When I graduated from college, I realized that being a police officer, I could never make any money. And I've always liked real estate. So I bought my first piece of property. It was a townhome I bought in Rockledge for $29,900. And within 14 or 15 months, I sold it for like $50,000. I really thought I made some money. So I went out and got my real estate license in 1979. Then I got my broker's license in like 83, 84, something like that. And I started working in general real estate in 79. Still working full time doing general real estate as a side job. Then I went to work for a builder. And after working with a builder for 2 or 3 years, at the time he was a very large builder in Brevard County in the early 80s, I decided I could do it better than he could. So I went out and got my state license, general contractor license, and I've been in business since 1987, 29 years almost.
That's awesome.
And it's just gone from there. I've done one deal after the other. But, you know, you talk about you can make money in real estate, but believe me, you can lose money in real estate too. Absolutely. I don't think there's many people that didn't lose money in 08, 09, 10. I mean, I took a beating myself. Lucky for me, I had a lot of properties that were paid for that paid me income and kept me alive because there was no construction going on. In 08, 09, 10, 11, and 12, there really wasn't any construction going on. Most builders went under. Most subcontractors went under. It's been a big problem in this area. Finding subcontractors that are still in business today once everything starts going back up again, because construction's back right now. It's hard finding subcontractors. It's hard finding general contractors, but construction's back.
We were just talking about that the other day. Where'd they all go? The good subs.
They died. They got out of business, or they changed careers.
They changed careers, went up north somewhere else.
That's right.
Yeah, it is crazy. I was very fortunate that I didn't get in until the end of the market, so I didn't have any of those, no document. I didn't have any of those pre-construction. I mean, I have many friends that made a fortune from those pre-constructions, but everyone who made a fortune also lost a fortune.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So, and now starting at that point, I'm kind of glad that I missed that, but I also know, that's going to come back around. So it's like, and I'm sure you'll agree that the real estate market, it does the same thing over and over again. It's a cycle. It goes up, goes down.
Yeah, but until you experience it, you can't learn from your mistakes. And the one thing I've learned is no debt. Buy your buildings, get rid of your debt as soon as possible. Anything that you own debt-free, you can survive.
Smart. Makes sense.
Keep it debt-free. And it doesn't matter if it's a $30,000 building or a $3 million building. Get rid of your debt as soon as possible.
That's some good advice. So, along with the whole advice, what you said there, what advice would you have for a new investor in today's market? Somebody wanting to get into real estate and flipping properties, what advice would you have for them?
Well, if you've never been in real estate before, I think you need to go very slow, and you need to learn. You need to learn a lot. Going to work as a realtor might work for you. It's worked for some people.
It worked for me.
Yeah, it worked for you. Go to work for a builder, maybe. Mm-hmm. The builders that sell tract homes. You'll learn a lot. And just don't jump out there and grab your first house and think you're going to make a fortune on it, because it's going to bite you. It's going to bite you. The market could change any minute.
Absolutely.
Literally any minute the market can change. If something happens in China, if something happens in Russia or Syria, we can see something. Everything will change. It'll turn upside down. And you're stuck with a house that you thought you got a good deal on, and the value might be worth half of what it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, that's how fast things can happen. So be very careful as a young investor, as somebody who is taking this on and doesn't have much experience. Experience is everything. I wish, I'm 58 years old. I wish I could start over again at 23 years old when I got my real estate license and know what I know today and have the experience I have today. Experience is everything.
Yeah, that is some really good advice. If you are wanting to get into real estate, the other option that you have is find somebody like me who understands real estate and then just bring the deal to me and we'll partner up. Find somebody who's got experience and partner up with them, because if try to do it on your own, you definitely could. I have made some very costly mistakes as well. I probably have not lost. I've not been in the game as long, but I have definitely lost quite a bit, and I've definitely learned from it. And with every loss, you get the education. And it's like, ooh, I know not to do that again. Yep. You kind of learn as you go, but you're right. If you could take all that wisdom and extract it, it's worth a lot of money.
Tom, that's great advice. And I can't tell you, I was talking to you the other day. Every other channel you turn to right now, there's flip this, flip that, Property Brothers, fix it up, fix it. So everybody is trying to get into the game, and a lot of them have no experience whatsoever.
Right.
And they're jumping in, they're paying too much, they're making costly mistakes.
But one thing about those shows, they don't tell you about the money they lose. They only tell you about the money they make.
Good point.
Believe me, they've made some bad deals too.
And those numbers on those shows cannot be correct. Like I watch some of the shows and I'm like, there's no way that house sold for $700,000.
Yeah.
So I do like the Vanilla Ice project. I've been watching that, and he adds a little bit of humor to it, and he's doing houses down in West Palm that are some he's putting like $400,000 into a house,
right?
Doing some like rock star stuff. So, but you're right. The average person, TV makes it look easy. Every show's out there. Oh, you flipped this house, and they got so many different shows now that it's not even funny. Well, we're getting ready to go to commercial break, so I just wanted to thank you for listening to the show. Also, check out our Facebook page and like us on Space Coast Real Estate Show. Also, thank you to our sponsor for today, RE/MAX Elite. If you're looking to buy, sell, or lease, give them a call today at 321-752-5858.
It's nice to have you along for the Space Coast Real Estate Show with Real Estate Robb. We're back in a moment. If it's about real estate, it's on the Space Coast Real Estate Show. Here's Real Estate Robb.
Welcome back to the Space Coast Real Estate Show. I am your host and real estate advocate, Real Estate Robb. I'd like you to go check out our Facebook page. It's Space Coast Real Estate Show. Like it and put any comments that you want. If you have any interest in doing anything in real estate, work, whether it be investing or wanting to sell a house, you can call me directly at 321-368-1881. We're talking to Mayor Tom Price from Rockledge. Great conversation. I want to introduce our next guest is Justin Brown from RE/MAX Elite. Justin is a fantastic guy. I've actually hung my license at his brokerage for several years and just has one of the top offices in Brevard County. In fact, my opinion, it is the top office. Justin Brown, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here, brother.
So, how did you get started in real estate?
You know, everybody asked me this because I was 18 years old. And it's a funny story. I knew at a young age real estate's what I wanted to do. And I was actually going through, I came out of high school, finished up the basketball stint. I played for FIT for a short period, went to coach at El Galley. And I said, you know what, I need to start getting my degree so I can go sell real estate. I mean, I put it right up there with a attorney, a doctor, and everything else. So I was doing my thing, going to school. And it was a Thanksgiving. I ran into my uncle, and he said, how's school going? I said, it's going great. He said, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm getting my degree to sell real estate. He said, what are you talking about? You don't need a degree to sell real estate. He said, you just take a week-long class. If you pass the test, you're in there. I said, you're kidding me. And so the rest was history. He actually connected me to a good friend of his who owned and this is funny too, the story, talking about public perception. This guy owned a small Coldwell Banker office in Cocoa Beach, Florida. Just one office. They had about 8 or 9 agents. And my uncle says, I'm going to introduce you to my buddy. He owns every Coldwell Banker office from Key West to Jacksonville. I'm thinking I'm going to meet Donald Trump. But, that was his perception. He just saw everywhere he saw Coldwell Banker, my uncle assumed, that was his friend's place. So it's strange how people, the perception is. So, of course, I go in there, my palms are sweaty and everything. I'm an 18-year-old kid, and I'm thinking I'm going to meet a guy that's got operations all over the state of Florida, and he's like, no, man, it's just me, my mom. We got a couple people here. We're just getting this thing cranking. And anyways, we started from there. He took me under his wing. He was the broker owner. Barbara, his mother, she did as well, and they kind of taught me the business. So we talk about young people getting started today. Mentorship is huge. I can't even imagine jumping into real estate and not having a mentor, not having some coaching or accountability. I wouldn't know which way to go. A lot of people don't realize that test, you take the class, you pass the test. It does not prep you to sell real estate. No. Not in the least bit. Yeah,
they don't teach you how to run a business. They don't teach you. I mean, basically, some basic laws, and you can fill in the blank.
That's it. So many people come out, like a deer in the headlights and say, well, okay, I'm licensed. Now what? So that's the story. So unless they go to, like you mentioned early, somebody like yourself, if they want to get into the investor side, if they want to get into general real estate, I would advise they jump on a team, go to an office that has that infrastructure to support and train you from the ground up. But just going alone, trying to figure it out on your own, you're going to make costly mistakes, and it's just going to set you back. It's not going to move you forward.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Always learn from those who have more experience, because you can never stop learning.
No.
And some of those mistakes you can learn without having to make, and those are the best kind of mistakes to make.
Absolutely.
The ones that you're prepared for. So why, you have RE/MAX Elite, an amazing office, amazing team. You guys control like 33% of the Brevard County market. Is that true?
People ask me that all the time. Why? Why do we do what we do? And it comes down to this, 2 things. It's people and systems. We have great systems in place, and we have phenomenal people that work those systems. Our support is bar none. It's of course, I'm biased on this, but I feel like we're the best in the business. Last year we kind of made a shift because we truly believe in coaching and accountability. So we have a business coach that's all she does for our agents. Is she focuses on their business planning, their consultation, and holding them accountable for things they know they're supposed to be doing. So it's, in this industry, it's easy to start off, you're going down the right path, and then you have a closing or two and you start to get off that path and you forget the things you're supposed to be doing. So if you don't have that accountability partner, they end up in those peaks and those valleys. They don't have any consistency behind their business. So we've identified that. We notice the guys that are doing some sort of coaching are succeeding at a higher level than those that aren't. So we've made that commitment. That's something we, put in place. We brought on Heather Holliday, which is a legend in the social media and the internet world. So now they have a technology coach that they can go to, which, as we know in real estate, that's a whole, another ball game. So now they have a couple different experts they can turn to. Obviously, I'm always there for the broker type questions, contract related disputes and this and that. But we have good people. They're seasoned. They're veterans. They've been around the block. Most of them have, been in this business for 10 plus years. So they know what they're doing. They just need, that support, that infrastructure. That's what they're looking for when they come to us, and that's what we deliver.
That is kind of what sets RE/MAX apart. When I first started, my first year as an ERA, which was, a smaller, I paid a fortune in commission splits, and I was kind of taught the basic ropes. And then I switched over to RE/MAX, and RE/MAX is definitely for more of the professional realtor. What they provide for their agents is phenomenal, and the team that you've built is phenomenal. I deal with them, so I know firsthand that you have done an amazing job.
Yeah,
so
I appreciate that. One thing I want to say, though, without knocking I call it traditional brokers, there's a place for everyone, and I believe that some of those other operations, they serve a great purpose. They're bringing in agents, and a lot of these guys get in the business for the wrong reasons, and you kind of have to filter through them to figure out who's going to take this serious, who's going to make it a full-time profession, who's going to say this is just a part-time thing. If I sell a house or two a year, I'm okay.
So you're absolutely right. You would not want to start out working at RE/MAX. RE/MAX is not the brand for a new agent.
No.
So you definitely want to get some education and get some experience, and like Justin said, get some the tools in place and the team in place and accountability in order to take it to the next level.
Yeah, I get people coming to me all the time saying, "Hey, well, so and so is going to bring me on. They're going to teach me. They're going to train me. They're going to show me the ropes, but they want 50% of my commissions." I said, "That's a great deal."
So what would you recommend to a new agent? What would you recommend them doing if they're listening to the show and they're saying, "Hey, I want to get into this"? Where would you, we talked yesterday and you told me a couple places. Where would you advise them to start? There's
a lot of great brokers, and I know I'll leave some guys out, but Mitch at Tropical Realty has a great infrastructure, great setup. He actually has a real estate school. Him and I are good friends, so he's bringing them in from, to the point where they want to get their license. And then he's got a program set up to develop them, a 12-week program to get them going and teaching them everything you need to know about the real estate business. So he's got a great program. My buddy Steve Naroda over at Exit, same thing. He spends a lot of time educating new agents and getting them up to speed and where they need to be. Jason Bucci, Century 21 Baytree, same thing. He's got a real estate school, so he primes them, gets their license, brings them in, coaches, mentors, and gets them off the ground. So there's several operations like that. So I would advise if they go and they interview with these brokers that they make sure that they have some sort of program in place, coaching, mentorship, to really teach them the business. Because without that, they're going to be out there with like a deer in the headlights.
Yeah, there's so much to it, and there's so many different areas you can focus on, but you got to focus on one.
Right.
And having the accountability is extremely important. So, Justin, what was your first real estate deal? Like your first real estate investment? What was the first investment that you bought?
Oh man, my first investment, it was English Park off of Lake Washington, and I used private money. And my family thought I was insane, but at that time I was very young, and I wanted to jump into real estate. I paid $30,000 for this condo. It was a little 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and in that complex. And but the way I looked at it, they were leasing for $650. Expenses were covered. There was positive cash flow, and if the market continued to go up, it's going to appreciate, and I would capture that as well. And which is exactly what happened. A lot of those, I was fortunate enough to cash out towards the top of the market, and so that $30,000 investment turned into a $120,000 sale.
That's awesome.
But when the market went kind of insane, but the whole time, even at that $30,000 number, paying, I think at the time I was paying 10 or 12%, something like that, a few points to get that loan. I was still covering expenses, principal, interest, taxes, condo fee, all that good stuff, have positive cash flow, and it was a great investment.
Yeah, that's the way to go. Well, we're getting ready to go to commercial. When we get back, we're going to talk about this news story that I found. The millennial makes money sharing her mom's text messages, enough to quit her job and land a book deal. Thanks for joining us on the Space Coast Real Estate Show. Also, thanks to our sponsor today, RE/MAX Elite. If you're looking to buy, sell, or lease, give them a call at 321-752-5858. I'd also like to thank the mayor of Rockledge, Tom Price, for being here, and Justin Brown. When we get back, we're going to have a little roundtable discussion about the market and what's going on.
Check out the Space Coast Real Estate Show Facebook page. Like the page on Facebook. It's Space Coast Real Estate Show.
Welcome back to the Space Coast Real Estate Show. I am your host, Real Estate Rob, and your real estate advocate. Today we are sitting down with Tom Price, the mayor of Rockledge, and Justin Brown, the owner and operator of RE/MAX Elite. So we're discussing the state of the real estate market, and so what do you guys have to say? I mean, what's your take? I pretty much just work on the north end of the county, so Port St. John, Titusville is pretty much where I've kind of stayed. I haven't really ventured too far south, although I think I need to. But I know that both of you guys are in kind of different areas. So, what are you seeing in your area?
It's crazy, but we talked, I think, during break of, it's starting to remind us back in 2005. We're starting to see these multiple offers again around, here in Brevard. And I was actually talking to a RE/MAX broker in Orlando, and she told me the same thing's going on over there. People are submitting offers, and they say, hey, you better clean that up. I got 10 more coming. So it's getting really crazy. There's a lack of inventory. We know that, across the county. I don't think you can specify any one place that has an abundance of inventory right now. I think everybody has a lack of inventory. So it's getting pretty aggressive. The rental market is insane. Same thing on the rental market. We get somebody leaving, we put it on the market, and we're just being bombarded with applications. So it's still a little crazy out there.
The rental market is kind of crazy because I just helped a friend of mine get a place, and the first two places that she looked at were gone.
Yep.
And you hear the same thing with buyers nowadays. Oh, well, I put in a bunch of offers, and I'm like, well, I'm working with a client right now who's a good friend of mine, and I'm like, listen, you got to get together, and you got to be ready to jump. I was like, when that house hits the market, you better have your offer in that day and be prepared to go into a bidding war because the good ones don't last very long. And with so many new investors flooding the markets, it's kind of crazy. Those auction sites are coming out and being a really big thing. And I think those are like testosterone driven because, I was on one and bought one for one of my clients, and he paid $128,000 for this house in Titusville that will it appreciate? Yes. But the fact that he paid that much and the house still needs $20,000, I was just blown away. And every time that it got down to like the last 15 seconds, I would place a bid, and boop, it had 15 minutes to the clock. So that 15 minutes to the clock. So like 2 hours later, now people are paying ridiculous price. I don't know how they're making money off of it because
they're not. And the best advice I'd give an investor is you don't make money when you sell. You make it when you buy. Mm-hmm. So they get emotionally caught up into the game. And, I got to win this bid. Oh, no, he just didn't outbid me, did he? Okay, hit that button again. And so they get, like you say, the testosterone, whatever, it kicks in, and next thing you know, they're excited because they won the bid.
Not to exclude any females
that's
out
right,
there.
That's
but,
right.
But it definitely gets crazy because, the amount people are paying is ridiculous.
Insane.
But at the end of the day, property's only worth what somebody's willing to pay for. And, that type of activity is going to make our market increase, which, is good and bad, just depending on how you look at it. I was hoping that it would stay lower a little bit longer so that way I could buy some more properties. But, like I said before, you can always make money in real estate. Does not matter. Tom was talking on the last break about when interest rates were, what were they?
16.5% with 4 points, FHAVA.
When was that?
1981, 1982. We were selling houses.
You guys were still making money.
What you got to understand from my experience in real estate, don't be too concerned about buying and flipping. Be concerned about buying and buying it right and keeping it and let it produce for you. And especially for a young investor, go buy a duplex, a simple duplex. And then maybe next time buy a triplex. Because rental market's very hot. Rental market's always going to do well. As long as you keep your places nice, there's a lot of things on the market out there for rent, but there's not a lot of nice places out there for rent.
Exactly.
Okay, so you have a nice place, you keep it up nice. It's your renters are going to pay for your mortgage. They're going to pay you back, and 15 years from now, it's paid for. If you're a young guy, 25, 30 years old, 45 years old, it's nice to have a couple of pieces of property that are paid for and have income producing. Income producing is the most important thing that people do not look at. Okay, because that's cap rate. Look at your cap rate on that. Mm-hmm. If you're making 5,
and what is the cap rate? Just for those who don't understand,
cap rate is actually the return on the property. Okay, the return on the property. If you're returning 5 to 12% a year on this piece of property, you'll never get that in the bank. You'll never get it in the bank. And it's free money to you because your tenant paid for the mortgage in 15 years or 10 years. Pay it off in 10 years. Whatever you can put back towards the principal, pay it off. Because keep your property. Keep it and let it produce for you. Because it's a nice check in the future.
And there's tax benefits too.
There's a lot of tax benefits owning property. Depreciation.
Always have a good accountant. That's one thing I learned along. You need a good attorney and you need a good accountant.
But for the little guy out there that wants to be an investor, go out and buy a simple duplex. That's the best advice I can give you.
Great advice.
Buy a little duplex somewhere and let it pay for itself.
That's fantastic. Well, we're coming down to the end of the show, and I have a segment that is called Robb's Golden Nugget. And the Golden Nugget, every week, I'm going to give you a little piece of advice, and hopefully that you listen to the advice and take it into account and apply it in whatever you're doing in real estate. Today's Golden Nugget is licensed contractors. I have worked with hourly people, daily labor. Me and Justin did a deal where I was using weekly labor, and it never paid. Now, I'm not speaking for everybody. There are maybe some guys out there that are in the process of getting their license that are really good guys. But you always pay more with the contractor because they have to pay licenses, they have to pay workman's comp. Their costs are a lot more. But nobody's going to pay all those costs unless they're serious. So always use licensed people because 98% of the time, if you don't, it's going to bite you in the butt. So I'd like to thank our sponsor for today, RE/MAX Elite. If you're looking to buy, sell, or lease, give them a call today at 321-752-5858. Also, check out our Facebook page, Space Coast Real Estate Show, and we'll be putting the podcast on there. And also, I'll be setting up several podcast channels and marketing them through the Facebook page and the website when it's done. So that way you can listen to the show anytime, basically in demand. And if you really want to get technical, for those who are super tech savvy, download the iHeartRadio app. You can check it out under WMMB. My show's right there. You can listen to it in demand around your schedule. So thanks for checking out our show, and I look forward next week. We're going to have the mayor of Palm Bay, and we're going to have a roofing company to give you the good advice for making sure that your roof is ready for the rainy season. Hey guys, sorry about this. I forgot about the millennial makes sharing her mom's text messages. So this is a pretty crazy story. She's 27 years old, Kate Siegel. She managed to turn screenshots of text messages from her mom into a viral Instagram account called Crazy Jewish Mom. The account, which was set up in November of 2014, now has 813,000 followers. She has partnerships with brands that include sponsored posts in the account. So much success that she's quit her full-time job and landed a book deal. And her book's going to be called Mother, Can You Not? So yeah, it really just kind of goes to show that the age that we're living now. I mean, technology, people don't leverage technology to the most. I mean, technology, I think, is evil, but it's good at the same time. It almost kind of seems like there's pros and cons to everything. But, I mean, that's pretty insane. I mean,
unbelievable.
To quit your job just from taking screenshots of your mom's text messages. I mean, my parents' text messages, they try to abbreviate stuff and I can't read it. So,
what a story. There's all kind of ways to make money out there.
And just think, I try explaining to my kids, I'm like, when I was a kid, we had to go to the library and look at an encyclopedia to learn anything. Yep. And if you were a rich family, you had encyclopedias at your house. But, other than that, that was it. You found an encyclopedia, you'd just kind of browse through it, and that was it. That was your all the information that you would get. So it is kind of crazy that now I have in our hands instant access to the world. So that is kind of crazy.
Well, we'll have to get Heather Holliday on one of your next shows, and she'll enlighten all the listeners on what social media and all that stuff's all about.
Yeah, because social media is very important for all of our sponsors and everybody out there. If you're looking to get into real estate, social media and the internet is a must. You definitely have to get into that. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you then.